Ladies and gents, have you ever seen a tactic so dominating that it puts all others to shame? We're taking a look at one today. Stay tuned. This is the ZaZ Tactic, Z-A-Z. I'll show you that in a minute, but I mean, it's absolutely dominating right now. And yes, I am still using Man City, Bournemouth, and Leeds right now. I'm trying to figure out how to do the same sort of setup with lower leagues. So we can see how the lower leagues tend to use these tactics and if they work or not. But I haven't really figured it out yet. Do I do the three teams? Do I just pick a team and stick with that? So anyway, right now we are sticking with Man City, Bournemouth, and Leeds, and this Zaz tactic has worked wonders apparently. 98 points for Man City, 71 for Bournemouth in the UCL spots, and Leeds United just missing out on any kind of UEFA League by 4 points. Pretty fantastic. The setup here is pretty crazy. So you have 4 in back, 1 midfielder, and 5 attacking. So it is called the ZaZ Fire 0.3. I don't know how many versions he has now, if there's a new version at all, but it's a custom clean slate, positive mentality. You have inverted wingbacks on the left and right in attacking. You have ball playing defenders in both spots on defend. You have a sweeper keeper, forgot about him. You have a roaming playmaker on support. You have a winger on support on both sides. You have a shadow striker in attack. You have an advanced forward in attack and another advanced forward in attack. So very attacking minded with these three. Support on this triangle, and then, well, you do have the inverted wingbacks coming up as well. In possession, fairly wide, play out of defense, slightly shorter, passing directness, highest tempo you can do, lower crosses, work the ball into the box. I gotta stop working my mouse all over. Counter press, counter, and then roll it out distribution type. Out of possession, you got a high press line of engagement, a higher defensive line. The standard, much more often trigger press, prevent short goalkeeper distributions. Defensive line is drop off more. So that is your tactic. It is an interesting one. It's one we haven't really taken a look at, a 4-1-5 almost. But as you can see, and as we've said, if we go back to the Premier League, it has worked wonders. So if we look at it directly, 31 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses, who are the against Chelsea and Fulham, and only by 1 goal apiece. 98 points. Crazy. This is the first time I think we've seen Man City in first place on one of these Tactic Talks in FM23. Liverpool moved down to second with 84 points. So they won with like 4 or 5 games in hand. That's crazy. That's crazy talk right there. But what's even more amazing is Bournemouth, 71 points, 22, 5, and 11. And they're in 4th place. They're scheduled to be dead last, as we all know. Leeds United scheduled to be 10th. So some nice positive movement for them. 61 points, 19, 4, and 15. Relegated Brighton, Leicester, and Crystal Palace. Schedule-wise, we're with Man City. Let's take a look at all this green. 1 draw against Liverpool, 4-all. Inter in the Champions League, 0-1. Draw against Brighton, 2-all. So 1-all penalty loss to Tottenham in the EFL Cup quarterfinals. It looks like they're out of that. FA Cup, though, damn. 6-2 over West Ham. A draw against West Ham, funny enough, later on, they were pissed, weren't they? Bayern, 6-1 win in Champions League. 4-2 knocked out in the FA Cup 5th round against Chelsea. Then Chelsea in the Champions League. Chelsea in the Premier League. And it looks like, yeah, Chelsea knocked them out of the Champions League overall in aggregate. And then drawing Bournemouth 0-0 at the tail end of the season. The tail end always seems to be the issue with Man City. So, but a fantastic season for them. Knocked out of a lot of cups, though. So that is a problem for them. We'll see how their competitions lie next. Leeds United, schedule-wise, a lot more spotty. Obviously, they're in 7th place, so you would expect that. Southampton losing at the first match of the season. Then Bournemouth 2-3 at home. As we go down, Man City lost 2-5 in the EFL Cup 4th round. Man City 7-3 at home. Holy cow. Man City 2-11. I mean, God. This tactic works like crazy for Man City. So if you're a top level team, yeah, take a look at this one. 11-2. Bournemouth 1-2. And then that is it. But finishing out with a nice set of wins here, even though an Aston Villa draw and an Arsenal loss by only 1, though. So that leaves Bournemouth. Look at the money, is up to 30 million. Damn. So schedule-wise, let's go all the way to the top. As you can see, a really nice run through October 8th or thereabouts. But 5-0 over Southampton. There's that Man City loss. Leeds 3-2 win at home, away from home. As we keep scrolling, you can see Liverpool 2-all. Leeds United 2-1 win. There you go. Some interesting rolls of 4-6 against Man United. Southampton 4-0. Arsenal 6-1 at home. 5-1 against Fulham. 6-0 against away from home against West Ham. 3-0 against Southampton. 0-0 against Man City at the tail end. But wow, Bournemouth. I mean, the tactics always depend on your players, and apparently Bournemouth have some really good players for these roles. Competitions-wise, as we already know, they were knocked out in the quarters by Manchester United, knocked out in the quarters by Liverpool. So finally we're getting some big teams knocking these players out, or knocking these teams out. If we look at Leeds competitions, knocked out in the fourth round by Crystal Palace, knocked out in the fourth round by Man City. And then Man City is going to be somewhat depressing, even though they crushed it and they got the trophy for the Premier League. Wow. They were first from that all the way down. But Champions League knocked out in the quarters by Chelsea, knocked out in the fifth round by Chelsea. Chelsea is their bitch this year. Knocked out in the quarters by Tottenham. They did get the FA Community Shield winners, probably against Liverpool. 4-2. There you go. So 2 trophies, 1 major, 1 basically a friendly cup. I'm sure they would have liked more, but I mean, again, as I always say, if you're taking control of these teams, you guys tend to do a little bit better than the assistant coaches do when you're simming. So you probably could have done that. You possibly could have done these 2. But wow, I mean, a fantastic tactic overall. I mean, Man City in first, Bournemouth in fourth, Leeds in third. I mean, in seventh. That is pretty crazy. And if we look at the stats, team overview, 157 goals. Yeah, that would do it. Bournemouth with 101 at number 2. Leeds in fourth with 86. Fewest shots against Liverpool with 331. Man City with 398. No one else. Most possession. Man City in fifth. Bournemouth most dribbles made. Man City in second. So this is a heavy dribbling mode. Keeping the ball. Leeds United. So average possession actually only 49% to 54 for Man City and then 49 for Bournemouth. But Leeds with 849. Fewest conceded 37. Bournemouth with 55. Most shutouts 16 for Man City, 13 for Bournemouth. Most tackles won 815 Leeds, 799 Bournemouth. I'm actually surprised Bournemouth isn't the top. Best passing completion, nobody. Most shots for Man City with 887. Bournemouth with 670. Leeds with 663. And then most points per game, Man City, Bournemouth, and Leeds top first, fourth, and seventh. So right in their own positioning. So as you see, most goals, Haaland with 38. We've seen him with higher, but De Bruyne with 26. Dominic Solanke with 21. Bamford at 21. Kiefer Moore with 21. That's the first time I've seen him in this list. But most assists, De Bruyne with 17. Bernardo Silva with 16. Foden with 15. Jack Harrison and Sinistra with 12 apiece. As with Christie, Sergio Gomez with 11. I mean, the top 7 spots are these 3 teams. So most player of the match of the awards. Wow, set that rating. These ratings. Fantastic. Look at that. Haaland and De Bruyne, Ryan Christie. I mean, look at that. Haaland sucks at penalties too. 7 out of 14. I mean, in reality, penalties versus shots, penalties taken should be a lot higher for a lot of these players, I would expect. That's insane, though. Average rating, Haaland with a 7.83, De Bruyne with a 7.81, Salah comes in third, Ryan Christie with 7.41, Solanke 7.4, Silva with 7.39. I mean, the top 18 positions, how many you go? 1, 2, 3, 4 players are not in these 3 teams. Top 20, you have 5 players not in these teams. That is absolutely insanity right there. Yellow cards, however, that is a lot of these 3 teams as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the top 20. That is, 20 yellow cards for Christensen, down to 10 for Akanji. Apparently a very aggressive tactic as well. And player of the match awards, Haaland with 10, De Bruyne with 10, Ryan Christie with 6, Silva with 4, Patrick Bamford and Kiefer Moore both on 4 as well. Nobody in the top 20, except Christie for distance covered. So some of these stats always amaze me. Are the attackers just sitting up in the attack, and you have very few people? You got the support wingers that kind of come down into the middle. But it's, yeah, this tactic has done a fantastic job. So, but that is the tactic right there. It is the ZaZ Fire tactic, and has definitely caught these teams on fire. They are absolutely insane. I mean, you are going to be having some serious fun with this tactic. I definitely suggest it. If you're, it looks like one that's going to be a little scary though to play with, but it may be worth it in the long run. Overall though, as I look at the webpage that I got this from, nothing much is said about it. It was a tactic called Blue, ZaZ Blue in the FM22 version. This is just updated for 23 with a couple of updates here and there to get out of the beta. But it looks like an absolutely phenomenal tactic to try out. Definitely check it out. Let us know in the comments below if you use it. If you want to use it, try to use it and let us know how it worked. But that is it for me, Sefian FM, for the Football Manager blog channel. Thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.